turn up in large numbers, those who are registered as voters. And for example, to ensure that there are no materials going into polling stations which may affect the elections. For example, in areas where ballot papers probably have been printed outside the polling station, outside the IEBC, and maybe illegally introduced into polling stations. We are trying to make sure that our people are around the polling stations to ensure that there are no electoral malpractices. We are also ensuring that they stay on guard so that the process that takes place after the polling and the counting of elections are done, that there is a free and fair transmission of election results. Just like observers who have nothing directly to do with the elections from outside Kenya are coming into the country to observe what will happen in the polling stations. We as key stakeholders are entitled to have people in the polling station to observe what is happening in the polling areas. And as you know, the Constitution talks about a transparent election, free and fair, which means elections should be done under the scrutiny and eye of the people as a whole. And to that extent, our policies surrounding adapt a polling station to ensure that indeed there are free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. And these practices are being borrowed from other democracies, like in Ghana. But outside Ghana, in many other mature democracies, like for example in the United States of America, volunteers normally come out, in order to knock doors and ensure that people go to polling stations so that there's a large turnout during the polling day. And we are therefore castigating the conduct of the executive in trying to interfere with things to do with the elections. The policemen who will be assigned to polling stations are supposed to work under the command of the presiding officers and generally under the command of the returning officers. They are seconded to the Electoral Commission and should not be seen to be commanded or ordered by the General Police Command, because the safety of the conduct of the elections, the responsibility ultimately lies with the Electoral Commission. And therefore, Mr. Matiang'i's statements on these issues are completely misguided and outside the constitutional law and the various statutes that cover the elections. Secondly, it is emerging that the central government is trying to militarize the elections. They have already talked about sending, the military, the police to certain areas which are not even trouble spots. And our assessment of what they're trying to do is to ensure that there are no turnout in these areas. NASA of late has been gaining significant support in places like Samburu, Laikipia. Marsabit was already our stronghold. Turkana was already our stronghold. We have had support growing by leaps and bounds in areas where we didn't get a full score, like in Mandera and other areas in the northern and eastern part of the northeastern part of the country. Now, this attempt to militarize the electoral process is dangerous. It should not happen. In fact, in order to maintain peace, security, and give people the confidence that they should go and turn out in large number in the elections, is to have less and less police presence, and particularly police who are militarized for operations like the ones we're seeing happening in parts of Laikipia.